Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into a YouTube video transcript. It's from the hashtag Winterstripe channel, and the video is titled, Why the Winterstripe 420 Experience is the Answer to Stimulate the Economy.
That's right. And because it's a transcript, we're getting their perspective, unfiltered directly from them. We're basically going to unpack what this event is all about according to the video.
Exactly. So the big questions we're looking at based on this source are, well, first, what is this Winterstripe 420 experience? And second, what are the actual solutions they're proposing for the economic situation?
Mm.
Our mission here really is to understand the core ideas they're putting forward and see if there's anything interesting, maybe some useful insights for you as we all kind of navigate, the current economy.
Yeah, good plan.
Okay, so the video starts by touching on some economic anxieties, stuff I think a lot of people feel worries about: a potential recession, grocery prices staying high.
No lie, yeah, not coming down.
Right. And then looking ahead to summer, maybe gas prices going up again. It definitely hits on that general feeling of uncertainty.
It really does. And what's interesting is how the speaker kind of voices this almost fatigue with waiting for traditional solutions. They mentioned those 2019 stimulus checks
Oh, yeah, I remember that part.
and sort of question if relying on outside help like that is really the answer long term. It hints that maybe we need a different plan.
And that perfectly sets up their main point, which is this strong emphasis on, well, individual action. That line, nobody is coming to save us. It's pretty direct.
Stark, yeah. It really frames their proposed alternative, which is this Winterstripe 420 experience.
So how do they position this experience?
Well, what's interesting is they don't frame it like some, dry financial lecture. It's presented more like a concrete thing individuals can actually do to improve their own economic situation.
Yeah.
It's a 4-day event happening in Denver, Colorado, from April 17th to April 20th. And the whole point seems to be giving people ways to build wealth using tools they likely already have: a smartphone, a computer.
Right. So it's about using what you've got, taking initiative. That seems to be the core philosophy here.
Absolutely. It really comes down to this idea that personal empowerment and financial independence are the real keys to freedom. They actively push back against waiting for help.
That analogy they used was pretty striking.
The Santa Claus one.
Yeah.
Saying you've got a better chance of seeing Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny than getting reparations.
Yeah.
A very vivid way to say, don't count on outside aid.
It definitely makes you pause.
Yeah.
And it leads into their concept of self-reparations, which is basically, taking action yourself rather than waiting. The goal, they say, is to give families the info they need to get wealthy and build these things they call security pillars.
And it's important how they define wealthy. It's not just like having a ton of money. They talk about foundational principles, mindset,
Right. Yeah.
getting actual physical assets too. It's a broader picture of security, not just dollars and cents.
Mm-hmm.
They want people moving from just surviving mode into thrival mode.
Surviving to thriving. I like that phrase. And a big part of making that shift, according to the video, is exposure. Getting exposed to new ideas, new opportunities.
Exactly.
Which brings us to the specifics they plan to cover. It's quite a list.
It really is diverse. You've got tangible assets like land and gold, but then also digital stuff like crypto and stocks, plus practical things like life insurance, setting up LLCs, limited liability companies for protecting your personal assets from business debts.
Right, the asset protection aspect.
Yeah. And then maybe the most distinct part is the focus on developing actual skill sets and learning about off-grid living tips, tools, and resources.
That off-grid part is interesting. It definitely goes beyond just stocks and bonds, talking about leveraging land and these private decentralized ILSs.
Independent living systems, yeah. It sounds like communities trying to be more self-sufficient, maybe with fewer hoops to jump through compared to traditional setups.
So it suggests looking at alternative paths to stability, maybe outside the usual systems.
That seems to be the implication, fostering resilience in different ways. Now let's talk about access, because they mentioned several ways people can actually join this event.
They do seem focused on making it accessible. There's a $35 option using the Zip app, which is, a pretty low entry point.
Yeah, that's quite low.
And they take Afterpay and Klarna. That suggests they want people to be able to pay over time if needed.
Right. The video specifically breaks down how that $200 online fee could potentially be split into, say, 4 payments of around $50, or even smaller installments depending on the plan, maybe getting that first payment close to that $35 mark using Afterpay or Klarna.
Okay, so multiple payment options.
And access is also included if you're already part of their Wealth Trifecta membership. Plus, there's an NFT route through Row Money Radio, which apparently comes with some extra perks.
So different ways, and depending on how you're connected or how you want to pay, but there's definitely a call to action, isn't there? That line, if you don't pay, you will not get to play.
Yeah, it's direct. It emphasizes that it requires an investment, even if they're trying to make that investment manageable through payment plans.
Hmm.
It frames it as, you need some skin in the game.
Okay. And beyond the logistics, they also mention past events and future goals.
They do. They reference last year's event, saying last year was phenomenal, so implying it was successful.
Uh-huh. Social proof.
Exactly. And there's this anecdote about someone who came just as an attendee last year and is now actually going to be teaching this year. That suggests, personal transformation is possible through this.
That's a powerful story.
And they mentioned major hitters being involved, which probably adds some perceived credibility or appeal for people wanting to network or learn from experienced individuals.
Right, connecting with experts. And then they frame the whole thing within this bigger picture of the haves and the have-nots, positioning the event as a way to maybe bridge that gap.
Yeah, they present it as a potential catalyst for change, suggesting it's more than just a learning opportunity. It's maybe a step towards shifting individual economic power.
It's definitely an ambitious framing, tapping into those anxieties, but offering a proactive, community-based approach.
hmm Encouraging people to be active agents in their financial lives.
So wrapping this up then, based purely on this video transcript, the Winter Strive 420 experience is pitched as this 4-day event in Denver, also online, focused on strategies for individual economic empowerment.
Right. Covering a whole range: land,
Yeah.
gold, crypto, stocks, LLCs, skills, even off-grid living ideas.
All under this banner of self-reliance, taking control of your own economy because, as they put it, broader economic help might not be coming.
Exactly. The core argument is, in uncertain times, you need to stimulate your own economy through knowledge, skills, and exploring diverse assets.
Which leads us to the listener. After hearing about this perspective from the Winter Strive video, what resonates with you? Does this focus on personal resilience, maybe exploring alternative assets or self-sufficiency seem compelling?
Yeah, it really brings up a fundamental question, doesn't it? When you look at the economic landscape, how much responsibility do you feel rests on the individual to carve out their own stability and create their own opportunities? Definitely food for thought.